Well, good morning, everyone. This is Ben from Pecan Hill Farms. I know it's been a while since I've been on YouTube, but I've had a couple projects that have taken me a while here, and so I wanted to talk about one of them today. The month of May was pretty historic around here. We had just tremendous amounts of rain. I think in about a 3-week period here at my house, I got right around a foot, pretty close to a foot of rain. So it kind of interfered with this project, and it's taken me quite a while to get it done. But I want to talk to you about it because I maybe come up with a way, if you're thinking about putting up a fence, that may be economical and easier than normal fence building. The problem I had back here, there's my chickens come up to see if I've got anything for them, is two things. Number one was security for my animals and privacy. So I had to try to balance that out with cost. What I ended up building was about 450 feet of fence around the back part of my property here. I got a little over an acre, and I had a fence up front around the back of my house. It's kind of what we would call the backyard. And in this back area here was where I kept the animals. And as you know from other videos, I did have a situation where either coyotes or dogs got in and killed about 8 of my chickens and ducks because of the lack of a good fence. So I decided I wanted to do that. I wanted to make a fence to where hopefully keep them out, and also a fence that would give me some privacy to the neighbors on the east side of my acre. I like fences. I must admit, I like privacy. I like fences. I just like the boundaries. I don't know. It's maybe just a weird thing, but I just like that. So anyway, I had to come up with a solution as far as ease of putting up the fence, also of cost. You know, right now everything is going up. Posts are going up. Lumber's through the roof. And so I figured how much was it going to cost me. If I had somebody do it, I knew it would be probably thousands of dollars, maybe 10,000. I'm not sure, maybe more than that. So that's what faced me. And so I had to figure out, number one, what did I have a lot of as far as supplies? What could I use to make a fence that I didn't have to go buy? And there's two things I did have a lot of at the time because of some other temporary fencing that I had used for my animals. And that was T-post and cattle panels. And you see over here I have a lot of these are left over when I took down my temporary fencing. And of course I already told my son about them, and he wants them, so I'm going to let him have them. So how could I use those and some fence panels to end up making a fence? Now I knew on one side, the privacy side, that's going to be 6 foot tall. I knew I'd have to do that the traditional way with posts and cement, digging the holes, putting in the posts, the cement. So I knew that was going to happen. And I had about 160 feet there. And so I just, I knew that was just the way. There's not much I could do about that. So I went ahead and did the traditional way of post and fencing and fence pickets and cement. Here's my trusted old post hole digger over here. I've had it probably about 30 years. And fortunately, my son-in-law came and dug that hole. I don't know if you can see because of the sun. That whole side there, about 12 holes for me one day. And then I came and did the rest of them, about 11 of them over here. So I had some help there. But still, that's effort. Unless you can rent one of those diggers, but that's effort. That's time consuming. And the older you get, it's a little harder to do sometimes. And some of your joints and shoulders and stuff, you start pounding that post hole digger, manual post hole digger, that can take a wear on your body. So I didn't want to do that all the way around. I mean, I just didn't. So I had to come up with the rest of about a 280 feet of fencing. Easier way to do it. Now, this fence here is not going to be, there's not going to be any animal pressure on it. There's not going to be any cows rubbing up against it or leaning over it or horses leaning over it or anything like that. So I knew I didn't have to, it didn't have to be cemented in. So using T-posts, cattle panels, how could I do it? So I came up with this system. I found online something called a T-post bracket, and I'll show you these over here. You can get them at Tractor Supply Company, but usually they don't carry very many of them at a time. Every time I would go in there to look for them, there may be 2 or 3 of them hanging off the counter. And that's these right here. These brackets. These are called vertical T-post brackets. And they slip down over your T-post, and then you can screw them to a like I did here. I hung them off that T-post bracket and then screwed them to a picket down to the ground, and then that's what I attached my fence panels to. I found a place online called, I think it's called Jeffers, JEFFERS.com. They had them in large quantities, these brackets, and they were cheaper. They were about $1 a piece cheaper than they were at Tractor Supply. So that's where I ended up ordering most of mine. And they made it real easy to build a fence without digging up holes, without cement, without buying the post. So I was able to put my bracket in, my T-post in, hang the bracket, and then attach the bracket to the fence. Now, I will admit, it's not as stout as cement. I mean, you can get out here and move it a little bit. Move it a little bit. You can see it's movable because those T-posts will bend, with a little weight on them. They'll wobble a little bit. But like I said before, there's not going to be any pressure on this fence. There's not going to be any animals rubbing up against it or leaning over or anything like that. And so, to me, this was a economical way to make it. If you look from the outside at it, it looks good. So I knew I could only go up so high with the weight. I mean, I could put in taller T-posts. These are 5-footers or 4-foot 5-footers. I think I had some 6-footers I used on this side over here. But I think it's going to work. And it saved me a lot of time. I could put up this fence really fast. with the conditions they were, as far as the rain, there were days I was out here standing in water with my boots on, putting this fence up. But so I knew I couldn't make it 6 foot of wood. That'd be probably too much weight. And so what I did then was took these cattle panels and I cut them down and came up about 42 inches or so with the wood, and then 24 inches with the cattle panels. And I attached them, ran them in behind here and attached them behind this wood, and used the T-post and the bracket. So it's worked out. It worked out. I put a lot of fence up, and not a whole lot of time, besides the weather conditions, and I think it looks pretty good. You would know the difference by looking at it, that it's not cemented in. It's just in with T-posts, but I think it's a doable thing. I mean, if you don't have the strength anymore to haul the cement bags, or to dig the 18-inch or 2-foot holes to put your post in, you can either get these T-posts, get a T-post driver and do it manually, or you can, I've seen people use those gas-powered T-post drivers, and it's worked. So there's an idea for you. So with all this rain we had, it hurt a lot of my crops. My tomatoes are standing in water. It was just it's pretty bad. My neighbors are growing a lot better stuff than I am this year. It would really pay to be in containers or raised beds. But let me show you a couple things that have worked out really good. One of them is, of course, talking about water. They're growing in water. Is my growing in the solution here, the water solution. Show you these, see if you can see these roots down in there. I don't know if you can see down those roots down in there or not, but they're growing in a water solution, nutrient solution, and they have done really well. One of them is called a Chicago pickler. Right there, these small, that one came off. These small ones are used for pickles. I've already made several jars of pickles, and this I got this one at a Baker Seed Company. It's called a Chicago pickler, and I've picked probably I don't know, 25 of these so far. And then the other barrel is one called the Diva, right there. It's I think an all-female. Doesn't have any male flowers. It's all female flowers. It hadn't been quite as prolific as the Chicago pickler, but it's making pickles. So it probably, it's making cucumbers more than I'll probably eat. I'll probably give them away. But anyway, so that has been a successful. That's one of my successes right there. Now, I used to have my chickens over in this corner, but I've moved them back in with the ducks. And so one of my next projects will be to remove this chicken area here. We can see it because of the sun. Move this chicken area out of the way and move this all out and return this to our side yard. So that'll be another project I have coming up. Let's go out here on the side. These blackberries have just done fantastic. My wife and I have been picking. The other night we came out and picked 16 pounds, and there's just so many more to go. There's a nice big fat one right there I'll eat. It's a pretty good sized blackberry right there. I mean, they're everywhere. And then I have more, of course, I have more over here. This is my 2 rows I've planted last year. They've done fantastic. So blackberries has definitely been a success. Now what I planted along through here has been a disaster, because all this water would come from this over here to this house over here, and it just would flood in here. But we're starting to, I mean, zucchini have kind of recovered, and I got one down there I could pick, so maybe I'll get a little bit of zucchini out of this. There's another one over here that's started to recover, but that's been there for what, 2 months now or so. So the peppers have not done good at all. The rabbits have been eating on them. So anyway, this area here hadn't done too good. I'm gonna show you here this comfrey. You know, I grow that comfrey, and so what you do after it gets up and gets kind of leggy, I chop it down, and then I use it as mulching around these blackberries. So it works pretty good as mulch. So there's a lot of it once you start, you let them grow, they grow up and you chop them down. So that's a good thing about growing that comfrey. So anyway, so blackberries and those cucumbers have done real good. I've had real good success so far with beans. In front of my house, I have an area I'll show you when we get around there. That's done real well. I've got some decent zucchini here. It's grown pretty good. I mean, I had a lot of trouble with bugs at the beginning. I was able to hand pick, and they got some zucchini growing down in there. You can see it. So anyway, but it just haven't been what I expected. This corn here is coming on, but it's been a struggle this year. Blueberries didn't do very good this year. My problem with my peaches and apricots, because of all the rain and humidity, the brown spot or brown rot, whatever they call it, it's just overtaken me. I'm going to get some peaches out of it, but they're little. There's so many peaches on this tree that they're little, and the brown rot or spot or whatever they call it, caused by humidity and stuff, is just starting to take over. So it's not what I expected. That one right there, it's small, but that one is ripe. I need to come out here and start picking these, and so I'll have a few peaches, but I got to get them before they get completely killed, or completely that brown rot or whatever, it completely wipes them all out. Apricots have been wiped out. So anyway, that's just the way it goes, I think. You know, you want rain, you get it, and then you get too much of it, and then you get diseases from it. But believe it or not, last night I was watering, because since that rain stopped about 2 weeks ago, we hadn't got a drop. It's been about almost 100 degrees every day. So be careful what you wish for. So let's go over and look at these beans. Here's my little bean crop right through here. Well, my wife and I have picked on these. We're getting down, I think, to the end. But I think we could say that we've picked almost somewhere between 16 to 20 pounds of beans out of here. So that has been a success. So I would say the cucumbers, the beans, and the blackberries have been what's really worked for us this year. So And then on around the rest of the house, I've had good luck with lilies, daylilies. These flowers have really come up pretty. I've had some pepper success, mostly jalapenos, not really any bell peppers. They haven't done well. But, so it's a mixed bag. Over here, I'm almost afraid to show these. These are so pathetic looking. Zucchini and these cucumbers are really bad over here. There's been a couple, but you know, it's been a tough year. But that's what happens, you know. That's what the challenge of gardening is. You never know nature's gonna throw at you. Sometimes it's everything's coming up great, and sometimes it's not. So my wife's loves sunflowers, so these are just coming back wild. Got several of them coming back wild this year, and so anyway, there we are. That's kind of the tour. So if you ever want to make a fence that's easy to make, a little more economical, just go along with that fence I showed you, and we'll see you on the next video.